How do we influence those who are our superiors or who are our bosses or in leadership over us? In order to have authority, I believe in God's kingdom, you must be under authority. So how do we respond to the authorities placed over us by God? Nehemiah was serving under King Artaxerxes, the king of Persia at the time, the greatest kingdom in the world. This kingdom stretched across the known world, all the way from India to Greece and from the Black Sea to the Red Sea. It was a mighty empire, and Artaxerxes was perhaps the most influential man in the world, and Nehemiah was serving under him. Now we'll find early on in the book of Nehemiah how he influenced this person who was so powerful in his world. In Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 1 through 6, let's see this encounter, this exchange between Artaxerxes, the great king of Persia, and his cupbearer, Nehemiah. In the month of Nisan, in the 20th year of King Artaxerxes, when wine was brought for him, I took the wine and gave it to the king. I had not been sad in his presence before, so the king asked me, "Why does your face look so sad when you are not ill? This can be nothing but sadness of heart." I was very much afraid, but I said to the king, "May the king live forever. Why should my face not look sad when the city where my ancestors are buried lies in ruins and its gates have been destroyed by fire?" The king said to me, "What is it you want?" Then I prayed to the God of heaven, and I answered the king, "If it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor in his sight, let him send me to the city of Judah where my ancestors are buried so that I can rebuild it." Then the king, with the queen sitting beside him, asked me, "How long will your journey take, and when will you get back?" It pleased the king to send me, so I set a time. Those over you have the capability of empowering you or disempowering you. How do we influence those over us to give us the power to do what God is calling us to do? Now, I believe in this occasion that Nehemiah gives us a demonstration of how to influence those who are responsible for us and we're accountable to. First of all, submission and humility will touch their heart. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 5 says, "In the same way, you who are younger, submit yourselves to your elders. All of you clothe yourselves with humility toward one another, because God opposes the proud but shows favor to the humble." And James 4, verse 6 says, "But he gives us more grace. That is why Scripture says, God opposes the proud but shows favor to the humble." So first, be humble and submissive. Second, be trustworthy in your service day after day. Nehemiah was a good cupbearer. He was faithful in his task, and thus the king would listen to him. Number 3, have discretion. Nehemiah learned how to go in and out before the king. He did not share what he should not share, and he did not speak when he should not speak. And number 4, find the favor of God. Nehemiah had a grace on his life that when he went in front of Artaxerxes for this particular task, to come to Jerusalem and rebuild the wall, God's favor was on his life, and God's favor influenced the king. Listen to these passages. Psalm 5 and 12, "Surely, Lord, you bless the righteous. You surround them with your favor as with a shield." Proverbs 19 and 12, "A king's rage is like the roar of a lion, but his favor is like dew on the grass." Nehemiah found favor in the eyes of Artaxerxes, and he was released to do what God had called him to do and lead in the way God had called him to lead. So if you're going to be effective as a leader, you have to humble yourself, walk in discretion, and live with God's favor in such a way that those over you will empower you to do what God's calling you to do.